Sure. Here's an expanded version of Keynote 1. Control your reactions in a compelling and motivational style. There's a moment between what happens to you and how you respond. That moment is where all your power lies. Most people go through life believing their emotions are automatic responses to the world around them. If someone disrespects them, they get angry. If they receive a compliment, they feel good. If things don't go their way, frustration takes over. It's as if their emotions are entirely dictated by external events, leaving them in a constant state of reaction. But here's the truth. Your emotions may be triggered by what happens around you, but your response is always a choice. And the person who understands this, who can pause, who can regulate that response, is the one who holds all the power. Think about the last time someone said something that irritated you. Maybe it was a passive-aggressive comment from a coworker or a dismissive remark from someone you respect. The instant reaction might have been frustration, defensiveness, or even anger. But what if, in that split second before you reacted, you recognized the control you have? What if you chose not to let their words penetrate your sense of self-worth? The moment you master this, you become untouchable. Because now, instead of being an emotional puppet pulled by the strings of other people's behavior, you're the one holding the strings. The strongest people in any room are not the ones who need to prove themselves, who argue, who get loud when challenged. The strongest people are the ones who remain centered, no matter what energy is thrown their way. When someone criticizes them, they don't flinch. When things don't go according to plan, they don't crumble. Their ability to remain composed makes them powerful, magnetic even. They radiate a quiet confidence that says, nothing you do can shake me. One of the greatest skills you can develop is emotional discipline. When something happens that would normally trigger an immediate reaction, take a breath. Slow it down. Instead of responding impulsively, observe. Is this situation really worth your energy? Will it matter in an hour, a day, or a week? 9 times out of 10, the answer is no. And if it won't matter, why give it the power to dictate your emotions? People will test you. The world will challenge you. Some days, everything will seem designed to push your buttons. But the person who wins isn't the one who reacts the fastest. It's the one who reacts the smartest. If you allow every inconvenience, every rude comment, and every setback to control your mood, you will always be at the mercy of your environment. But if you develop the ability to step back, to process before you react, you become unshakable. This doesn't mean suppressing your emotions, it means mastering them. Feel everything, but don't let those feelings dictate your behavior in ways that don't serve you. Anger, frustration, sadness, they are all valid, but they don't have to drive your actions. You get to decide how to channel them. Instead of snapping back at someone, you can stay composed and respond with intelligence. Instead of letting disappointment make you bitter, you can use it as fuel to move forward. Some of the most influential and respected people in the world are the ones who have mastered this art. They don't let their emotions run them, they run their emotions. When a leader is faced with criticism, they don't lash out, they absorb, reflect, and respond with intention. When an athlete misses a shot, they don't let frustration consume them. They reset and focus on the next play. When a successful entrepreneur faces failure, they don't spiral into self-doubt. They learn and adapt. Their ability to control their reactions is what separates them from the rest. Imagine walking into every situation with this kind of control. Imagine never being rattled by someone else's bad mood, never letting a single moment ruin your whole day. That's the power of mastering your reactions. When you learn to control that initial emotional impulse, you become the kind of person who dictates their reality rather than being dictated by it. You become the kind of person others look to for stability, the one who stays calm when everyone else panics. And that kind of energy is magnetic, it's unstoppable, it's rare. Confidence isn't something you wait for, it's something you decide to step into. Most people go through life waiting for permission to feel secure in themselves. They think that if they achieve a certain goal, gain recognition, or if other people validate them enough, they'll finally feel confident. But confidence doesn't work that way. It's not something you get, it's something you embody, regardless of external circumstances. The mistake people make is thinking they need proof before they act confidently. They believe they need to have all the skills, all the experience, and all the approval before they can carry themselves with assurance. But the truth is, the people who seem the most confident are often the ones who simply decided to act as if they already were. Think about the most magnetic person you know. It's not necessarily the most talented, the wealthiest, or even the most attractive person in the room. It's the person who carries themselves with an energy that says, I belong here. They don't need validation to know their worth. They move through the world as if they are completely secure, and because of that, people believe in them. That's the secret. People take cues from you on how to treat you. If you walk into a room with hesitation, unsure of yourself, others will mirror that energy. But if you step into any situation with the certainty that you have something valuable to offer, others will start to believe it too. Confidence is not about knowing everything or being perfect. It's about how you carry yourself even when you don't have all the answers. It's about how you present yourself when things aren't going perfectly. The person who walks into a room with their head held high, their shoulders back, and their presence fully engaged is always going to command more attention than the person who shrinks into the background, waiting for someone to notice them. And the irony is, confidence itself creates opportunities. When you act as if you are meant to be in the spaces you enter, people are more likely to invite you in further. They're more likely to listen to what you have to say, to offer you chances, to believe in your potential. One of the biggest myths about confidence is that it's something you either have or you don't. But confidence is not a fixed trait, it's a practice. It's built through action, through stepping into discomfort, through repeatedly proving to yourself that you can handle more than you think. And the best way to develop it is to start acting as if you already have it. This doesn't mean being fake or pretending to be someone you're not. It means choosing to carry yourself with certainty even when you feel doubt. It means speaking up even when your voice shakes, walking into situations with presence even when you're nervous, and backing yourself even when no one else does yet. People often think they need to feel confident before they take action. They wait until they feel ready to start the business, to speak up in the meeting, to approach the person they're interested in. But confidence doesn't come before action. It comes because of action. The moment you start acting as if you are already the person you want to become, you begin to embody that version of yourself. Your brain starts to catch up to your behavior, and what once felt forced starts to feel natural. There will always be moments of self-doubt. No one is confident all the time. But the difference between those who seem effortlessly confident and those who struggle with insecurity is that the confident ones don't let doubt stop them. They don't let discomfort dictate their actions. They feel the fear, the uncertainty, the imposter syndrome, and they move forward anyway. And each time they do, they reinforce the belief that they are capable. That belief, built over time, is what turns into unshakable confidence. The way you carry yourself sends a message before you even say a word. Your posture, your eye contact, your tone of voice, all of it communicates how you see yourself. When you walk into a room, do you make yourself smaller or do you take up space with presence? When you speak, do you hesitate or do you own your words? These small shifts make a massive difference. If you start acting as if you are already confident, the world will start responding to you that way. It's not about arrogance or pretending to be something you're not. It's about owning the fact that you have value, that you belong in the spaces you step into, and that you don't need anyone's permission to carry yourself with certainty. Most people spend their lives chasing validation. They seek approval from their friends, their colleagues, even strangers on social media. They measure their worth by how many likes they get, how many compliments they receive, or whether people acknowledge their efforts. And when they don't get that validation, they start questioning themselves. Am I good enough? Am I doing the right thing? Do people even notice or care? The problem with relying on external validation is that it puts your self-worth in the hands of others. It means your confidence is only as strong as the last compliment you received. It means your happiness is dependent on how others perceive you. And that is a dangerous way to live. The truth is, people's opinions of you are constantly shifting. One day they admire you, the next day they criticize you. One moment they're cheering for you, the next they're doubting you. If your sense of self is tied to their approval, you will always be on an emotional roller coaster, riding high when they praise you and crashing when they don't. The people who are truly unshakable, the ones who seem to carry themselves with effortless confidence, are the ones who have detached from the need for external validation, and they don't seek permission to be themselves. They don't wait for others to recognize their worth before they believe in it. They have built an internal foundation so strong that no amount of praise or criticism can shake it. When you stop depending on external validation, you take back your power. You no longer need to prove yourself to anyone. You no longer feel the pressure to constantly impress or seek approval. Instead, you move through life making choices based on what feels right for you, not what will get the most approval from others. This kind of self-trust is rare because most people have been conditioned from a young age to look outward for confirmation that they are enough. They were praised when they did what others expected and criticized when they didn't. Over time, they learn to adjust their behavior to gain approval rather than to stay true to themselves. But the price of this is losing your authenticity. It's sacrificing who you are just to fit into someone else's version of who you should be. The moment you break free from this, everything changes. You stop overanalyzing what people think. You stop second-guessing yourself based on whether others approve. You stop holding back your opinions, your ideas, your personality just to fit in. You become someone who operates from self-assurance rather than the need for validation. And this is the paradox. The less you seek approval, the more respect you gain. People are drawn to those who are unapologetically themselves. They can sense when someone is not trying too hard to impress, when someone is secure in who they are. And that kind of presence is magnetic. There will always be people who don't understand you, people who criticize, judge, or try to diminish what you do. But the most powerful thing you can realize is that their opinions are a reflection of them, not of you. Someone's doubt in you does not mean you are incapable. Someone's disapproval does not mean you are wrong. The moment you internalize this, you free yourself from the exhausting cycle of trying to please everyone. You stop seeking validation from those who were never meant to give it to you in the first place. When you detach from external validation, you gain clarity. You start making decisions based on what aligns with your values, not what will impress others. You start creating, speaking, and living with authenticity because you are no longer filtering yourself through the lens of what is socially acceptable or widely approved. This doesn't mean you ignore feedback or never listen to others. It means you take in perspectives without letting them define you. You learn from criticism without letting it shake your core. You appreciate praise without becoming dependent on it. Every great leader, every successful innovator, every person who has ever made a real impact has had to break free from the need for external validation. They had to move forward even when people doubted them. They had to believe in themselves even when no one else did. They had to trust their vision before anyone else could see it. If they had waited for the world's approval before taking action, they would have never created anything meaningful. This is why the ability to detach from validation is one of the most important mindsets you can develop. It allows you to act boldly, to take risks, and to step into your full potential without hesitation. Emotional discipline is one of the most powerful skills you can develop. Most people live at the mercy of their emotions, letting their moods dictate their actions, their words, and even their self-worth. They wake up feeling unmotivated and decide the whole day is ruined. They experience frustration and immediately lash out. They feel slighted and let resentment build up inside them. They go through life reacting instead of choosing how to respond. And in doing so, they give away their power. The ability to feel everything but show only what serves you is what separates those who control their emotions from those who are controlled by them. The strongest people are not the ones who never feel anger, sadness, or frustration. They feel everything, but they have learned to master their responses. They know that acting on every impulse is a sign of weakness, not strength. Losing control, raising your voice, or letting emotions cloud your judgment does not make you powerful. It makes you predictable, easy to manipulate, and emotionally vulnerable. The moment someone else can control your mood, they control you. But the moment you master your ability to regulate how you express your emotions, you become untouchable. It's easy to think that emotional discipline means suppressing feelings, but that's not the case. Suppression means pretending you don't feel something, burying emotions until they explode later in ways that are unhealthy. Emotional discipline is different. It's the ability to recognize what you're feeling without letting it control your actions. It's knowing that just because you feel anger, you don't have to react with aggression. Just because you feel doubt, you don't have to hesitate. Just because you feel fear, you don't have. The key is learning to process emotions without being ruled by them. One of the greatest tools for emotional discipline is self-awareness. The ability to pause, observe what you're feeling, and ask yourself, is this emotion serving me? Is acting on this feeling going to move me forward or set me back? Most people never stop to question their emotions. They assume that if they feel something, they must act on it immediately. But the most powerful people take a step back. They recognize when emotions are temporary, when they are being triggered by outside factors, and when reacting impulsively will do more harm than good. They don't make permanent decisions based on temporary emotions. Mastering your emotions also means learning to direct them. Instead of allowing frustration to turn into rage, you can channel it into focus. Instead of letting fear make you freeze, you can use it as a signal to prepare and push forward. Instead of allowing sadness to consume you, you can use it as motivation to create change. Emotions are energy. When you learn to redirect that energy, you gain control over your outcomes. You stop letting emotions be the thing that holds you back and start using them as fuel to move forward. People who lack emotional discipline often find themselves in unnecessary conflicts, regretting their words and actions and wondering why they feel so out of control. They believe that their emotions justify their reactions, but the truth is, reacting emotionally often leads to worse outcomes. A single moment of anger can damage relationships. A single moment of fear can cause a missed opportunity. A single moment of impulsiveness can lead to long-term regret. The ability to regulate emotions in the moment is what gives you an advantage in any situation. Emotional discipline also builds resilience. Life will throw challenges at you. People will disappoint you. Situations will not always go your way. If you let every setback shake you, you will constantly feel like life is against you. But when you have control over your emotions, you can navigate setbacks with clarity instead of panic. You can acknowledge the difficulty without being consumed by it. You can stay focused on solutions instead of getting lost in frustration. This kind of emotional strength makes you unshakable. It allows you to move through life with a sense of stability that most people never achieve. When you master emotional discipline, you gain the ability to lead, to influence, and to stay composed no matter what happens. People respect those who remain calm under pressure. They trust those who don't let emotions dictate their every move. They follow those who can navigate difficult situations without losing control. This is why emotional discipline isn't just a personal skill, it's a leadership skill. The person who can manage their emotions effectively is always the one who rises above the rest.